As an Iranian American, as an atheist, I'll be the first one to tell you that the Islamic regime in Iran must be toppled and replaced. They must go because this regime has been nothing other than an utter disaster for Iran, for Iranians, their health, their wealth, their dreams, and their aspirations. But the Likud and the United States military attack against Iran's nuclear program, which in all reality turned out to be an extremely expensive and complex bombing of empty Iranian storage units, was, is, and probably will be considered one of the most blatant, unforgettable, and unforgivable betrayals of Iranians and their hopes and aspirations of deposing this government and replacing it with a democracy, if not from the beginning of time, at least since 1953, by the West, the United States, and this particular case, Likud in Israel. Why am I saying that? Because first and foremost, not a single high-ranking or consequential mullah from the regime was captured or killed. You know what? Forget about capturing or killing them, fuck it. Not a single high-ranking mullah was scratched. Not a nosebleed, let alone injured, captured, or killed. Including the supreme motherfucker who just and his including the supreme motherfucker and his cronies in the Council of Guardians or the Majma' Tashkhis Maslahat. Not a single one. Instead, more than 1,000 civilians were killed. Majority of them, if not all of them, had nothing to do with the government or its nuclear program, including 2 pregnant women and a bunch of kids. And I don't know what you know about pregnant women and their kids. They are not that good at enriching uranium and creating nukes, I can tell you that much. Instead, infrastructure, wealth, and the health of the Iranian citizens that was attacked, injured, and destroyed. Infrastructure and wealth that belongs to Iranians and Iranian citizens. Even if it was hijacked by the mullahs and the Islamic regime, it still belongs to Iranians. Just like the fact that, for example, Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory is not the personal property of US military or this commander or Donald Trump. It belongs to American people. And if you attack it, you cannot argue that I'm attacking the regime or the government in DC or the government in Sacramento. You're attacking American infrastructure that belongs to Americans. That's why if you do that, all of us Americans would get pissed off. It wasn't mullahs in Tehran to claim, and it wasn't yours in Tel Aviv and DC to destroy. So why am I claiming that this was clearly an attack on Iranian and Iranian people and Iranian sovereignty and not an attack on the regime or its nuclear program? Well, how come you could assassinate Soleimani 1,000 miles from Tehran so precisely that the collateral damage was minimum? How could you assassinate Ismail Haniyeh so far up the butthole of Ayatollah that the cat next door barely noticed? You couldn't do that to Khamenei and his replacements? You couldn't do that to high-ranking mullahs and clergies? Yes, you could. Yes, you could. So why not do that? Well, first, it is because the Likud regime in Tel Aviv and the Islamic regime are 2 sides of the same coin. They're not that different from one another. They are both radical religious extremists. Both will commit violence, brutalize, and murder in the name of Ibrahim's sky daddy. Both are nihilistically trying so hard to bring about the end of time, and both will commit the most unimaginable violence, inhumanity, and brutality while gleefully and happily screaming the name of their brutal and bloodthirsty God. And although this is my personal opinion based on theological readings, both regimes are idolatrous. They worship the state and the power of state as their God and as their deity. Both Islamic regime in Tehran and the Likud regime in Tel Aviv worship the state and the power of state and not the God they claim to believe in. Secondly, Iran, Israel, and the United States needed a major and global distraction. The Likud in Tel Aviv needed to distract the global mind and public discourse away from the genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity it is committing in Gaza. The Islamic regime in Tehran needed the distraction to save itself from imminent and guaranteed fall within a very short period of time. And the United States needed the distraction from disastrous internal and external policies of Little Donnie. And if I'm honest, they all got what they wanted, albeit momentarily. Likud managed to distract the world from genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. An Islamic regime went from the just about to be toppled to shore itself up, cry foul, go from perpetrators into victim, and start rounding up and massacring in hundreds, probably in thousands, innocent people in the name of espionage and spying for Mossad. All the while, we all know real spies and real Mossad agents are extremely high-ranking inside the regime. And Donnie Littlehand got a chance to show off American weaponry so we don't laugh at him for being Bibi's little bitch. Because I promise you, if you dig enough, you will see that Bibi and Mossad have blackmail material through Epstein. You have no idea. So those of you who supported military action against Iran, thinking this is about Iran's nuclear program, where's the uranium? What safeguards are there that enrichments will not continue? How do you know Iran is not going to put in fifth gear the process of acquiring a nuclear bomb, given they looked at Iraq, Syria, and Libya and saw they got their asses handed to them, and or look at North Korea and Pakistan and be untouchable by anyone in the world? The equation is very simple from the perspective of Islamic regime. That's why they stopped cooperating with IAEA. My assessment is at some point they will withdraw from NPT, and they will accelerate the process of acquiring or building a nuclear warhead. Now, let me be very clear. Having a nuclear bomb is completely different scientifically and technologically from delivery and detonation mechanism. You can have a critical mass of uranium. Yeah, you can turn that into a bomb and blow it up wherever. But putting that on top of a rocket, guiding it somewhere else, and detonating it is a whole different ballgame. Those of you who supported the military action thinking that it will bring about the demise of Islamic regime, oh well. They are farther from falling after the attack than they were before the attack. Most important and powerful figures of the regime went into hiding, arrested, recharged, rearranged, and restarted their brutality 10 times worse than before the attack. And your little sock puppet, Reza Pahlavi, can kiss sitting on the throne goodbye forever. You're going to take that dream to grave. And after losing all that wealth, blood, sweat, and tear, we're back at the square one. The Islamic regime is stronger than ever before. Likud in Gaza is continuing its genocide and war crimes. And the United States is back on downward trajectory of a hegemon in decline. So, all those millions and billions of dollars, all that thousands of lives lost for absolutely fucking nothing. And we end with one question. Is it surprising that extraterrestrial life has showed up to the planet and upon observing humanity concluded there are no intelligent lives on this planet and they just moved on? Well done, humanity. Well fucking done.